Welcome once again to the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari. The clue's in the name. This is very much Ferrari home turf, and the locals will be out in force today to support their team in what we hope will be a magnificent spectacle of motorsport. On then to the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. One lap of Imola, anti-clockwise of course, unlike most Formula One circuits, will take our drivers round 3.1 miles of track. 19 turns, 9 right-handers and 10 to the left. Drivers will need to be precise at the hairpin at turn 7, given the subsequent uphill section. Without a good exit from that corner, they'll lose a lot of time on that stretch. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. An immense lap from Ayrton Senna yesterday puts him on pole position, edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Joker, Hamilton, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Russell, Verstappen, Sainz, Leclerc, Gasly, Tsunoda, Stroll, Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, Joe, Albon, Oscar Piastri, Bottas, Ocon, Théo Pourchaire and Logan Sargent. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? And alongside me in the commentary box today, a man who I always look up to, which is easier said than done, Anthony Davidson. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, those pre-race rituals are essential.
That start was okay, now stay alert for threats around you. DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone. Look out for a bit of understeer when trailing the car ahead. They're going to be giving off dirty air, which is going to affect our tyres, so try to get past. tyre condition still looking good. Okay, expect to see some rain about 10 to 15 minutes from now. Nice work, mate. That brings you up a place. Verstappen's in first place. Okay, gap to the car ahead, 4.6 seconds. Okay, here's the gap that we're trailing the car ahead by, 4.3 seconds. Rain is forecast in just over 10 minutes time. Rain in 10 minutes. I've got some information on Alonso. Okay, they're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car. Right, the gap to the teammate ahead of us, 4.4 seconds. No need to worry about the tyre condition for now, everything's looking good. approaching the pit window now, and you're going to be on hards next time. You're increasing the gap on the car behind by 0.5 a lap. Yellow flag. Someone's come off ahead of you. There's a yellow flag ahead. Okay, clear. Okay, the pit window's open, so let's box this lap. Box this lap. Gap to your teammate ahead, 2.2 seconds. Okay, pit in this lap, and remember the speed limit. We'll be penalised if we exceed it. Keep that in mind as you approach. You only have to stop once now. One stop left. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. expecting some rain soon. Expect the first drops in the next few minutes. Ayrton is in the pits. Ayrton in the pits now. Great work, that's a new fastest lap of the race. Okay, no issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them. And we're still happy that we're on the right tyres at the moment. rain's going to keep getting heavier for the next 15 minutes at least. Right, we're no longer sure that these tyres are the right ones. It might be time to come in and change. Okay, the stewards have now disabled DRS. DRS is now disabled. Confirmed, we'll receive you at the end of this lap. Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross onto the track.
They're going to be aiming to achieve the fastest pit stop time possible.
Let's use overtake and burn off some of this energy. Ayrton's coming in for his stop now. Okay, keep an eye on that gap ahead, please. 8.2 seconds. ERS is low, ERS is low. Consider changing mode on your MFD or lift a little with gentle braking into corners to recharge it. No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving. So you know, we're getting some strange readings from a couple of the sensors, so I don't think you need to be worried, just some bad data, so keep doing what you're doing. I'll let you know if we notice any genuine problems. At least another 10 minutes until this rain evens out. Stay alert out there. Okay, some information on Norris. They've got an issue with their car, they're going to be slow. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 11.7 seconds. Okay, I think we're still on the right tyres for the time being. Okay, this is your final lap of the race. Yes, 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 guys, yes! Come on, boys! Ah, fantastic drive. That's just fantastic. Amazing. You deserved that race win. Well done, mate.
And that's it then for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. And what a sensational victory they've managed to pull off here.
Well, another race victory today. You could clearly see they're driving out there with very little pressure. You know they have the performance, they know they've got the car under them as well, and this has done no harm, of course, for their championship chances.
A show-stopping performance from the three drivers approaching the podium right now. It's been an interesting Grand Prix, that's for sure. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action, and I can't wait to see what's next.